スーパーレディオブラザーズ
It's time for the Super Radio Brothers. I think the one just had an accident.
Yes, the Super Radio Brothers. We are back broadcasting from strategic locations all across the empire. It is the Super Radio Brothers. So exciting to return. The whole show had an accident, and we have a new, very special friend hosting the show, co-hosting the show. He, of course, is my good friend, Trent Ferguson. Let's give him a warm Super Radio Brothers welcome. Boo! Boo!
Of course.
You suck!
Oh, of course. Yeah. Hey, before they even heard me, they're like, Trent Ferguson. That name just sounds sketchy. Who is this guy?
Who's Trent Ferguson? Trent, welcome to the Super Radio Brothers. I kid, of course. We love you. Can't wait to do the show with you. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Let them know who you are.
Well, I was going to go with Emily Dickinson's famous quote, "I'm nobody. Who are you?" But, hey, we all are somebody.
That's way too highbrow for this show, Trent. I have no idea what you just said.
I know. I figured. That's why I said it. But anyway, yes, it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Mr. Carroll, for asking me to come on here and
oh my
and
goodness,
join us.
no last names on this show, Trent. People can't know who we are. Oh, wait.
I know. That's right.
I already said your last name. Never mind. You could say
I know,
so
it's fair game. So, but anyway, people know who you are. You've been doing this for some time.
That's true. That's true.
But, anyway, your voice is recognizable. But with that said, I am Trent Ferguson. I'm a graduate of the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine. So, yes, that hints, if you can use deductive reasoning, that I am totally blind. But you know what? I do not and will not let it stop me from accomplishing anything. I'm hold many positions in radio. I'm a musician. I'm a music lover. I'm a sports fanatic, which we'll get into here in a little bit. I am somewhat of a TV watcher. Becoming more and more as of late. That's why Rich wanted me to do this show. I guess that's one of reasons, few reasons why. But anyway,
yeah, Trent said I'm becoming a couch potato, and I said, perfect. Do the show with me.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Hey, nothing like couch, especially during baseball season and during like right now with the NCAA tournament. Yeah, my weekends are spent pretty much in one location, and that is my couch.
Yeah,
but,
why
anyway.
not? There's a lot of things to do on the couch. What do you want? Which is why we have a couch report on the show. You're going to get everything you're used to getting. You're going to get the Super Radio Rundown, video game news, the couch report. Now we're going to add some sports into the show. And, of course, Trent, our very first Super Radio News together. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too.
Oh, that's dramatic. Still gets me every single time, Trent.
I know. I understand.
Do you think
I
you
totally
can go
understand.
on? Even after hearing the toilet flush, you still want to do the show?
Oh yeah, I still want to do the show, prepare some news stories, and yeah, the toilet flushing is it's make sure you're not eating whenever you're listening to the show because your appetite just might go right out the window. But
that's
other than
true. That's been known to happen, Trent.
Make sure you're not planning on eating any food or eating a delicious meal of some sort because you might not want it after you hear that.
And speaking of which, we usually start with the poop news, and I have a poop-related story. I guess I would say this is poop-related. You might find this interesting, Trent. A house was listed in the Detroit suburbs, listed at $979,000. So a pretty expensive house. It's drawing some attention online. Why? For one unusual feature, a toilet that resembles an actual throne.
Oh, my.
It's an actual throne, Trent. No joke. I mean, you've heard that before, right? A man's throne is his toilet. That's where he gets things done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's where he gets his thinking done. That's where he reads the newspaper. I mean, sure, I get that. But an actual throne, nonetheless? Wow.
Hey, it's an actual throne. A high-backed wooden seat that resembles a royal throne. The toilet features a candle holder mounted to its high wooden back. The house also includes an unusual bathtub on wheels and was listed for $1.2 million in 2021. How about that?
How about that? I tell you, whenever my father was alive, he would oftentimes go in the restroom to escape, from my mom and my two other sisters. So I understand that. He often called his toilet his throne. So it's ironic though. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked about this. First of all, the price of that house, $979,000. Cost of living has gone up pretty much everywhere, but especially in Detroit. They call it the Motor City, and it's a big city with a lot of industrial type things and things of that nature in it. So I totally get that. But I mean, that's the first I've heard of that. A toilet and a bathtub on wheels. I mean, what are you going to do? A guy drinks too much alcohol, wants to be wheeled, around, I guess.
I don't know. All I can say is well worth the price. After I heard about the throne toilet, I was questioning the $900,000, but when you hear about that, you got to think about it a little bit. It's you
of course
think
you
about
do.
it.
Without question. Well, that's an interesting story to lead off the show.
What do you got, Trent?
Oh man, where do I even start? I got some stories here for you. First of all, let's start off with a man trying to suck gasoline out of his car using, guess what, Rich? A vacuum cleaner.
Oh, sounds smart to me. I would do that.
I'm sure you would. Hey, a man accidentally put the wrong type of fuel in his car in Germany. Well, a mechanic, he went to seek a mechanic, and the mechanic told him that he would try to take care of the issue for a ransom sum of, yes, you heard this right, $350. Well, apparently the man found that to be too rich, so he decided, I'm going to take on this endeavor myself. So he used a garden hose at first to try to, suck out all the gas and suck out the wrong gas, making sure he got it out. Well, he found out that didn't work.
But it works in the movies all the time, Trent. It didn't work in real life. You got to be kidding me.
I mean, what you see in the movies is not equivalent to real life.
Really?
A lot of time. Yeah, I'm surprised. I learned that. I learned that just today too. So I understand that.
I was born yesterday.
What's that?
I was born yesterday, so.
I can tell a lot of things, but anyway, so he thought he would be a genius, so he tried to use a vacuum cleaner to suck out all the gas. Well, it turns out his car blew up. So if it was a nice car, if it had sentimental value, well, apparently it didn't, because he used that method of doing things. So you can say goodbye to that car, and it did not say in the story what kind of car it was. But apparently that's irrelevant. The main topic of the story here is a man so dumb to try to use a vacuum cleaner and a garden hose to suck gas out of your car. Now, Rich, I obviously, with me being blind, I do not drive. However, I know that a lot of other people have put the wrong fuel in their car from time to time. I had a friend of mine who owned a King Ranch truck. And she accidentally, without even thinking about it, because she, I guess, had a moment where she thought she was in her Explorer, she actually put gasoline in a diesel truck. But the good news is, her situation wasn't as dire as this one, because she ended up getting someone to assist her in getting all that bad fuel out of her fuel tank, and she was up on the road within a couple hours. She was not dumb enough to try to suck it out of a vacuum cleaner.
Well, I would tell you what, if this was a nice car we were talking about, there's no way he puts the wrong fuel in, because you love that car too much. You're super attentive to it, and there's no way you do that in the first place. Second of all,
probably like a 1992 Buick or something.
Yeah. And if you do happen to do that, you're going to drop, what was it, $250, $300? You're going to pay the money.
$350.
Yeah, you're going to pay the money to make sure that you get everything done right to your baby. You're not going to take any risk with a vacuum cleaner or anything like that. So pretty funny story there. How about this, Trent? We like to talk about Guinness Book of World Records being set all over the world, from silly things to truly astounding things. And this would fall under the category of truly astounding. I find it extremely fascinating that adventure seekers, extreme adventure, these people do the wildest things. And the craziest thing you could possibly do is attempt to climb Mount Everest. And that, if you look into it, every single month there are people who die trying to reach the peak of that mountain. It really is one of the most incredible things, one of the most incredible human feats there are, that someone can accomplish, to actually scale Mount Everest. But you're literally risking your life to do it because people die every month trying it. Well, how about this? A man and his team recently got word they earned the Guinness World Record when they hosted the world's highest tea party at a height of 21,312 feet above sea level on Mount Everest. How about that?
Yeah, wow. That's pretty high up there, over 21,000 feet. I've never been 21,000 feet up in the. Well, yeah, I have maybe in an airplane one time, but other than that, no.
I start to worry when I'm 20 feet in the air. It's
I know.
It gets me
absolutely.
Makes me feel a little bit funny. It was a great movie, Everest. I don't know if anyone saw the movie Everest. It was, I would say, about 10 years ago, but it really shows the whole experience of paying a ton. These people, they just even to attempt it, to get started, you're looking at about 30-40 grand for the trip, to get out there, for the Sherpas, everything you need to go on this adventure. It's a pretty expensive thing to do. And on top of that, you might die. So, and these people,
right.
they just wanted to have tea, Trent. I have tea at home.
Of course. But you know what? I'm so scared of heights that, no matter how good the tea was. Now, I'm a sucker for some good sweet tea now. I love great sweet tea. I'm from the South, so I love some good iced tea, just as long as it's made properly and as long as it has the balance of sugar and as long as you can taste the sweetness of it.
I got to have sugar.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. If it doesn't have sugar, it's not sweet tea. But anyway, but no matter how good the tea was, 21,000 feet is just way too high for me. I'm scared of heights. I broke my leg. Rich, can you believe that?
Oh wow!
And a blind person broke his leg in 2013 because somebody asked me. I was actually the counselor in training at a camp, and so. The camp director asked me, "Hey Trent, do you want to launch someone off a blob? Those blobs that are in the water and that kind of look like I don't know exactly what they look like, but like there are a few people on each side, and you can like kind of launch them with your landing, your body landing on the other side." Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So basically what happened was the camp director did not tell me that I was supposed to land on the blob with my rear end. So I decided, me being the, me not thinking at the current moment, I decided, okay, I'm going to land on this on feet first. So I tried it and it was detrimental because unfortunately I broke my leg, had to have surgery. I mean, everything's fine now. I mean, it only took me about 2 or 3 months to completely heal up, which I'm grateful for. But lesson learned in that story, I use that example to say that heights are not my favorite thing anymore.
It's understandable, Trent. All right, what else you got there, Trent?
Well, I need to ask you a question to lead this one off.
Oh.
Do you have satellite TV? Do you watch like Dish or DirecTV?
I used to, not anymore, but I used to have DirecTV.
Well, have you ever had somebody try to go on your roof and steal your satellite dish?
No, not try to steal my satellite dish. That would be foolish.
Well, apparently this guy in the UK had this happen to him. A UK man arrived at a house with the intention to steal a satellite dish from this man's roof. Well, he climbed up on the roof and started yanking at the dish, trying to rip it off of his house. Well, the owner noticed it. This guy's so dumb.
Yeah, great plan. Yeah, what a great plan. I'm going to go on the roof and just yank at it.
Well, first of all, I would be concerned if an unknown car pulled up at my house. Nevertheless, hearing someone get on my roof and while I'm watching TV, all of a sudden the TV turns black and I'm going, what in the world is going on? Well, the owner noticed it whenever his the sporting event that he was watching. It didn't say what, it didn't say if it was a soccer match or a gridiron football game or a rugby, that he didn't say that. But the owner ended up yelling outside, ended up going outside and yelling at the man because he noticed his TV going black and his TV turning completely off. Well, all of a sudden, the man takes off running because of the fact that the guy yelled at him and he was never seen again. So the man...
he probably ruined the satellite, though. They couldn't watch TV for the rest of the night. Damage done, I say.
Oh yeah, damage is done. And you know how long it takes for satellite providers to actually come to your house. That kind of thing is like physical damage. You're going to need somebody to come out, and sometimes it takes 5 days, 10 days. Sometimes it can take 2 weeks. You don't want to be 2 weeks without satellite TV, especially if you're a sports fan. I surmise that this guy must be a sports fan if he's watching a sporting match.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was some type of football in the UK.
Yeah,
Premier
being
League
in the
stuff.
UK. My uncle's from the UK. He loves soccer, man. He loves football. They call it football over there. Of course, that's gridiron.
It's
we can
almost
debate on whether
insulting that we call it soccer here. I don't think they like the word soccer.
No, they do not like soccer. They call it football. He's a big football fan. He plays their version of fantasy football oftentimes too. I don't want to speak to him when his fantasy football team is doing poorly because he never wants to talk about it.
So it's fantasy soccer football?
Well, he calls it fantasy soccer. Whenever he addresses it with me, he calls it fantasy soccer. Yeah.
Oh, so you understand what he's talking about because you're all into the American football, and then they don't get American football. How could it be American football? They don't use their feet.
I know, but it's interesting because American football is starting to draw some popularity overseas because we've got NFL games being played in London. I think we had one NFL game in Mexico either a year or two ago, and we're going to have more we're going to have another NFL game in London this year as well for the 2022 season. So it's not uncommon for
Didn't they increase it to 2 games in the UK now? Weren't there 2 games last year? I thought there were 2.
I thought there were 2. I know there was. It was
UK,
2. Yeah. And I think the Buccaneers are going to be a part. I'm just for a future reference. I am a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, a big time Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, even before Tom Brady was on the team.
You're not jumping on the bandwagon, so
no, I am not jumping on the bandwagon.
When they stunk, so I give you respect.
I was a huge fan. Unfortunately, I watched them go 3-13 one season, and it was very tough to watch. So
3-13. I've seen my team go 1-15 and never seen them win a Super Bowl. Trent, don't give me anything about your pain. I know pain. You don't know pain. You won a Super Bowl. Now I'm gonna cry.
Well, hopefully some of this other news will make you laugh.
A UFO expert. I'm a UFO expert, Trent. I know everything about UFOs. They're unidentified flying objects, and that's what I know. So I know a lot.
Okay.
But apparently a UFO expert says a wolf-like being looked into his home after a nearby sighting. Check this out. The family of a fighter pilot who witnessed a UFO say they have seen a wolf-like creature that walks on its hind legs stalking their home. The unnamed pilot was on board the USS Nimitz when he or she, I don't know what, I guess the article doesn't know what's going on here. It says when he or she spotted the infamous object shaped like a 40-foot tic-tac sweet. Okay, so it looked like a tic-tac, Trent, like kind of like a candy egg type of thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've eaten tic-tacs.
You've had tic-tac. So it looked like a tic-tac, they say, the UFO. Now, the pilot reports that after they returned home, they spotted a strange wolf-like creature staring into the windows of their house on at least 2 occasions. The family of the pilot says the creature stared into their Virginia home on 2 occasions. So it's a werewolf alien, Trent. Do you believe these people?
No, I really don't. That's wow.
Do you believe in aliens?
That's no, not really.
So you think
I have to say,
humans are the only intelligent life forms in the entire universe? The galaxy?
Of course not. Nowadays we have artificial intelligence and we have so much other stuff.
Well, how about if I said biological intelligence, Trent?
Oh, biological intelligence? Yes, by all means.
Okay. I think there's probably aliens from my end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, there could be. We you could be right, I could be wrong, or we could be both wrong, or technically there's no right or wrong answer
about this, but we can agree to agree and disagree. Pretty sure there's aliens, and they probably visit us already. And some of them live on my block. I'm sure. You ever see?
Oh, I'm sure.
It's
you could
almost,
be an alien.
I probably am. We all are aliens. We all come from Alpha Centauri or Orion's Belt. There's another planet out there, Panspermia, took all the life materials from that part of the galaxy to this rock that was lifeless, and the rest is history. That it all. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, Trent. I'm pretty sure.
That's cool.
MIT scientists create a fabric that can hear. How about this?
Really?
Yeah. Scientists have created a special acoustic fabric that can turn movement into an electrical signal. It can be used for hearing aids, clothes that are able to communicate, and fabrics that can track the bodily responses of people wearing them.
So when you say you mean okay, so clothing that you wear. Wow. Okay.
Exactly. Like I read this, Trent, and I'm like, okay, but why? I still don't know. The hearing aids I got, but why would clothes need to communicate?
Man, I don't know. Maybe if somebody put on some clothes that were clean and, maybe they weren't taking care of themselves hygiene-wise.
There's a good point. You put on, now imagine, Trent, you put on a shirt and the shirt tells you, you stink. You stink. And you realize
some people could benefit from that.
Yeah, maybe I should take a bath.
I've been out. I've been walking around society, and I've smelled some people that got bad BO, man. Yeah. Good.
My
gracious.
Shirt just told me I stink. I better rethink this going out thing and take a shower. Now that I see that, this is technology that might actually improve society.
I mean, a lot of people are very awkward when it comes to, they don't want to offend anyone. If someone around them or in their vicinity does have a relatively strong body odor. So, I mean, I can understand that. But if the shirt could nip that in the bud, I mean, who knows? You could have a lot better smelling people on this.
Now,
earth.
My concern, Trent, is that I don't want my shirt to tell other people they stink. I want to keep that to myself. That would be kind of embarrassing.
Oh, of course. I'd hate to be walking in a room and all of a sudden, man, this guy stinks. It's funny. A funny story related to this. I actually had a roommate one time. No joke. Okay, I will not mention his name, but I had a roommate at the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind that did not shower for like 2 weeks straight. I swear to you. It's really, really disgusting. And all of a sudden, we were walking somewhere, and we just came back from a recreation activity or something. And I vaguely, now this has been too long, so I may not have my facts straight, but I vaguely remember a dorm staff. She was trying to be as quiet as she possibly could, but she was telling this person, a staff member told me that you smell, so I need to make sure that you take a shower. Or something like that. And that I felt bad for the guy. The guy was so nice, but I felt bad for him because he smelled so bad. And because, she said it, she said it to where other people can hear it. Now, if I encounter somebody who stinks, I'm going to go pull him aside on the DL and say, hey man, can you make an adjustment to your hygiene habits?
You would do that?
I mean, it's like, if I knew the person well, like if I didn't know him well, no, I would not. But if it was a friend of mine, no, I wouldn't embarrass him in public. I would, come in and say, hey, man, I'm doing this only for your benefit. You might want to consider, changing the way you do something, or you might want to get a shower or something. I wouldn't do it in a mean way. I wouldn't do it in a condescending way. I mean, that's not cool. You wouldn't want to do that.
The only way people will
want that
listen
done to me.
Well, Trent, you have to understand, the only way people will listen is if you do it in a mean way. So you have to be as mean and disrespectful as you possibly can, and you just blame it on.
I want to be like you.
You want to blame it on your clothing that can now hear. Yeah.
I don't know if I want my clothing to hear.
My whole concept is way off because the clothing can hear, and I'm talking about the clothing smelling you. But that's a whole other issue.
Oh yeah. Hey, I got another story for you.
Right.
Okay, I got one. A bad haircut leads to a person being stabbed.
That's terrible.
So I know. Normally getting a haircut's a great experience. I mean, I like going into a barber shop. I like talking sports with my barber. My barber's a nice guy. He we share a lot of the same interests. He likes music. I like sports. We both like sports, music. And so we always have a good time talking to each other, just having a ball. And Yeah, apparently this guy was not very pleased with his haircut. So in the Philippines, a man was so fed up about others making fun of his haircut, saying that it looked strange on him, that he went back to the barber who gave him the haircut and stabbed him. The man was especially enraged because that was the second haircut that he got from the guy that was subpar, apparently.
Now, why would you go back again, though? If you weren't happy the first time, why would you go back again? At that point, first time it's the barber's fault. Second time, it's your fault. That's what I say.
What do they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, that's what they say, and I think that can be applied here because he's a fool. If you didn't like the first haircut and you went back and got a second one, he should probably stab himself.
Oh, geez. Wow. That just got dark. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I've been to barbers where,
Guy's just trying to make a living, Trent. He's just trying to make a living.
I know, but it's funny because, sighted people say, well, why do you have such input on your hairstyle? I said, well, because people, close to me have told me what looks good and what doesn't look good. And I've been to a barber who honestly has done a subpar job on my hair from time to time. So I, didn't say anything to him and ended up not going back to his shop because I was not satisfied with, with other things. And also, I don't know, man. I don't get it. It's if you don't like your haircut, it's like anything else. If for example, if you don't like the milk that they sell at Walmart, go buy it from Winn-Dixie. Or if you don't like the food at a certain restaurant, if you don't like McDonald's burgers, then go to Burger King or go to Wendy's or something like that.
That's it. Yeah.
If you do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, it's called insanity.
Trent,
you don't want that.
Violence isn't always the answer, only sometimes. Speaking of which, I have a couple of Florida man stories. I know you like those.
Oh, those are always entertaining.
A Florida man was arrested for attacking a puppy that stole his food on the beach.
Oh, my goodness. How dare he?
Yeah, that poor puppy. Multiple witnesses at Clearwater Beach saw a 24-year-old Noah Counts kick a 3-month-old puppy in the face before dragging it by its leash and throwing it over a wall. Police say Counts was taken into custody and booked into the Pinellas County Jail on a charge of cruelty to animals. That's terrible.
I'm an animal lover. I love animals, always have, and it's unacceptable to treat an animal like that. Treat anybody like that, especially an animal. The poor puppy. I mean, look, puppies are trained. What are they going to do if they see food? Yeah, of course they're going to grab it. If they're able to grab it, and if they're able to, eat it, of course they're going to. But my question is, could this have been avoided? And I think, possibly so. I mean, it's one thing if the wind kind of blew his food or something to that effect, eating food on the beach. But otherwise, if he was, had his food near a puppy, what does he expect? The puppy's just not going to sit there and not do anything.
There's clearly some kind of
puppy wants food.
There's clearly some kind of chemical imbalance here, Trent, because most people, if a little cute puppy comes and starts eating your food, you would say, "Oh, look at that puppy, so cute." But this idiot had to kick it in the face.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, the dog doesn't know any better, man. Come on.
About a Florida woman, Trent. A Florida woman is arrested for shooting her neighbor with a water gun.
Oh no.
With a water gun. And again, Pinellas County, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office says the victim was shot in the face with a water gun as she passed the home of Renee, the lady's name, Bullduk, on Saturday, March 12th. Deputies say that Bullduk sprayed the victim because she was upset that she was walking on her street. You can't even walk on this lady's street. So a 40-year-old Florida woman shoots her neighbor in the face with a water gun just because she's walking on her street. She was arrested and held on a $500 bond.
Last time I checked that this is a free country. This is a free area. I live on this street too, so I have rights to walk on it. I mean, come on, lady.
She probably just doesn't like. I mean, who does that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How about Martin County, Florida? Trent, you're familiar with there, right?
No.
Okay.
Martin County, where's that?
Maybe it doesn't exist. The heck if I know. I don't know. The police say a security camera caught the moment a man was struck by an SUV as he exited a convenience store on Tuesday. Police say the 21-year-old female driver says she meant to hit the brake but accidentally hit the accelerator instead. Good driver.
Oh, boy.
The video shows the man being struck by his waistline as he was thrown back into the store. Deputies say the man was transported to the hospital with injuries to his face from the broken glass and is expected to recover. Now, this is an interesting story because when the ambulance and the cops showed up to help him, the first thing he said was, "Is my beer okay?" He was buying beer at the convenience store, and all he cared about was, "Is my beer okay?"
Oh, man. Well, that's a dead giveaway. He was just buying. I wonder how many he had prior to entering that convenience store and buying some more, trying to replenish his beer supply.
This is a great story, Trent. YouTubers are facing charges after they built a fort inside a Target store in Pennsylvania, and they wandered around inside after employees left for the day, then exited at 3 a.m. They came back at 8 a.m. to film, acting like they'd spent the night inside. They would have avoided being caught if they hadn't posted their escapades on YouTube. And while they didn't take anything from the store, police say they wasted police and Target resources. So they did it for a YouTube video, Trent.
Oh, man, that's wild. Geez. Well, people always have motivation for doing things, and of course, anybody will do anything for YouTube nowadays. You remember those challenges that people used to do, like the Tide Pod challenge, all of those, eating Tide Pods, young children eating, that was a big story back in whenever I was in high school, and which wasn't very long ago, by the way. It was only I graduated 5 years ago in 2017, but it'll be 5 years this May.
There's always
by the
some
way. But
wacky TikTok challenge, some nut job thing. Just a couple of months ago, people were stacking milk crates as high as they could and tried to walk on them and almost killing themselves trying to do that. Trent, I just got a great idea to try to get more viewers to our channel. Why don't we camp out in a Target and film it? What do you think?
I mean, camp out in a Target?
Yeah, doesn't that sound like a great idea?
Lot? I mean,
let's camp out in a Target and eat Tide Pods. Hey, we're gonna get so many views. This is gonna be so.
Oh, good. I know, but our stomachs will not be able to handle the mess.
My stomach can handle a lot. Okay, don't you?
Your stomach is invincible.
Yeah, I'll handle some Tide Pods. Okay.
Your stomach's like Iron Man.
Yes. I eat numb sauce, okay, and that stuff that'll make you numb. Okay, if I can eat that, I can eat some Tide Pods. I'm pretty sure. But let's go ahead and do that. Why not? That's a great idea. And speaking of YouTube videos, right now my review of The Batman, why The Batman is DC's first Marvel movie, is available on YouTube and all social media platforms. So go ahead and check that out. We will get into The Batman a little bit here tonight, but I
recommend it.
Yeah, it's our first of a new series that we're going to have on our channels called Super Radio Highlights. Trent is going to be contributing to Super Radio Highlights. We got celebrity interviews coming down the turnpike, so a lot of cool things going on, but I digress. I have one more news story here, Trent. And finally, how about this headline? A dentist broke his patient's teeth on purpose so he could fix them. Prosecutors say he made millions.
Okay.
I mean, think about the trust and everything you put into the hands of a dentist, right? You're basically, you release all power. They're in complete control. And you have this idiot that decides he's not making enough money and he's going to take advantage of you by breaking your teeth so he can fix them.
I mean, I would not want to endure. I would not wish that pain on anyone. I'm not a huge fan of the dentist. I mean, yes, my dentist is a nice guy, like personality wise, but no, I do not like people finicking with my mouth and pulling teeth if they have to. And look, I understand your oral health is important, but still, it's not something that is the most fun. I'd rather be doing a lot more things. Put it that way.
I hear you. And look. The guy was starving for money, right? He was making $1.4 million a year. And when he started this little racket, he started to rake in $2.5 million a year. So, I mean, I guess it was worth it, but now he's going to face up to 10 years in jail. So maybe not so worth it. And I feel like he should get life. I don't know about you, but what is that? That's awful. A lot of people, if you're a dentist, you're a doctor, right? People trust you. And you're pulling some nonsense like that?
Yeah, no, he needs to be locked up for good. No one needs to see him on the streets of society anymore.
Well, from this hell we call Earth, that is the news.
Super Radio Rundown.
Yes, Super Radio Rundown. A couple of stories here, Trent. The Batman came out a couple of weeks ago. Its second weekend at the box office was huge. So huge. So this is still a big story. So go ahead and check out our Batman review, Super Radio highlights on YouTube, all social media platforms. The Batman, Trent, over the weekend, its second weekend, it's pulled in $66 million. So that was a big second weekend for the Batman. Right behind it, Uncharted, with only $9.2 million. So that's the difference between 1 and 2, Trent. The Batman, $66 million, and then you had Uncharted, $9.2 million. At number 4, BTS, Permission to Dance. I didn't even know that was a thing. The K-pop group, their movie in the top 3 here, pretty amazing. $6.8 million they brought in. At number 4, Dog, which I had a chance to see over the weekend. I felt like it was a bizarre movie, actually, but I'll talk about that a little. Dog brought in $5.3 million. And Spider-Man No Way Home, which has been out for quite a while now. So I do think it's pretty impressive to still be in the top 5. Obviously, this is post-COVID. It's hard. Is it post-COVID? I don't know. Is there still a pandemic? But Spider-Man No Way Home, $4 million over the weekend. So the Batman continues to be just extremely successful. And
contest Batman movie is, and I've heard so many people speak on it, speak very highly of it. About the character development. That's what I pay attention to when I read books. I want to make sure that that really the things that pique my interest are character development and how the author integrates, or in this case, the filmmaker, the production, and all that kind of stuff really integrates, the main purposes and the main ideas of a film or a book. How smoothly they're integrated in, and it's that's kind of what I look for. And from what people have said, I have not had a chance to go to the theater to watch the Batman movie as of yet, but I plan on doing that within the next week or two. I'll definitely be able to watch it when it comes out, but I can't wait to go and listen to it, and just, I'm hearing a lot of positivity about the character development, and just how the cast of characters is amazing, and we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and in related The Batman news, here was a big screw up. The Batman HBO Max release date, you might want to hold off, Trent, if you have HBO Max. The Batman HBO Max release date was accidentally revealed. Batman scheduled to land on HBO Max in late April, and Deadline reports that this information was unintentionally released due to a tech glitch. So that's a big glitch. Now everybody knows, if you're one of those people who can wait, hey, I can wait till April 19th and just watch it on HBO Max rather than go. The theater is pretty expensive these days, depending on how you want to go watch a movie. But if you have an HBO Max subscription, you might just want to stay home and wait till April 19th.
I prefer, the reason I do that is because like HBO, there's a way for visually impaired people to kind of get the audio description, and they have those in movie theaters, occasionally. But the theaters that I've gone to lately, haven't had those. Really, the last one that really was beneficial to me was when I went to watch a play about Lyndon B. Johnson whenever I was in D.C. about 6-7 years ago. So a lot of times when I watch shows and a lot of times when I watch different things like that, I like to kind of get the audio description. And thanks to technology, I'm able to do that with with that option. So it really works out well. And I just the only thing, there's nothing like going to the theater. Of course, I love the popcorn. Of course, I love the soda every now and then. And of course, I love the listening to the sounds of the movie, in what do they say, live and in living color. But in terms of the audio description, that's what really benefits me. And, that's why I like to wait and watch a lot of shows on HBO Max or Hulu or Amazon or wherever they come out.
Interesting. And as you know, Trent, I've told you I'm a huge Star Trek guy. I love Star Trek. By the way,
really? I didn't know that.
And I announced on our social media, a big deal for us here. We are going to have Anthony Rapp on the show. I'm going to interview him. He, of course, is Lieutenant Stamets on Star Trek Discovery, the latest Star Trek show on CBS All Access, or Paramount Plus it's called now. And I love Star Trek Discovery. There's debate among fans. A lot of people don't like it for certain reasons. There's all the woke stuff. People say it's woke, this and that they don't like about it. I love it. I think it's great. Star Trek has always been on the forefront of civil rights, social justice. If you just look at it, back in the 60s, the original series, it was the first television show to have an interracial kiss on television, which is huge. When you look at the bridge crew of the Starship Enterprise, I mean, it had a Japanese man, a Russian man, a black woman, all in positions of power. A Russian man, you had the Cold War going on and everything, right? And Gene Roddenberry's vision was a future where people were just all equal and they were all one. None of this nonsense, the problems that exist today. It's a bright vision of the future, and I always love Star Trek for that, and I love Star Trek Discovery. Not as big a fan of Picard, that's out right now, but we're gonna have Anthony Rapp on soon, so keep your eyes out for that video. We're planning on hopefully posting it by Monday on all social media platforms, especially YouTube. Check it out on YouTube. But we'll get a chance to talk to Anthony Rapp about his role as Lieutenant Stamets and all of that cool stuff. So we'll have him on soon. I bring it up because big news, there's another Star Trek show coming to Paramount Plus called Strange New Worlds. It's going to focus on that original series, but before Captain Kirk becomes captain of the Enterprise. If you remember the original series in the 60s, the first 2 episodes, the captain of the Enterprise was Captain Pike, and then William Shatner came in and he took over as Captain Kirk. Well, the first season of Strange New Worlds will focus on the Enterprise and Pike as the captain, but it's just been revealed for season 2. It hasn't even come out yet, and it's already been approved for a second season. TV Line reports that Paul Wesley will star as Captain Kirk on season 2 of Strange New Worlds, and season 1 is set to debut on Thursday, March 5th. It's just a great time to be a Star Trek fan. Right now you have Discovery going on. I think we're on episode 9 of season 4, and Picard is up to its third episode now of season 2.
Thursday, March 5th.
Yeah, Thursday, May 5th. Thanks, Trent. Is when we'll get Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait. I know a lot of people with Discovery right now, they feel like it's the weakest season of the 4 up to this point. I'm still digging it. I love Saru. I love Captain Burnham, and I'm a big fan of Lieutenant Stamets, and we will have him here on the Super Radio Brothers. Pretty exciting. In Disney Plus news, Marvel Cinematic Universe, another great show coming to Disney Plus, Secret Invasion, which Secret Invasion is based originally on a comic book story arc written by Brian Michael Bendis. The series sees the Avengers teaming with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, among other, basically the whole Marvel universe, to confront and end the threat of the Skrulls. So basically, the Skrulls are shapeshifters. So a Skrull can become you, Trent, and I wouldn't know you're a Skrull. To me, you're just Trent. So
oh, cool.
Basically, the idea is, oh, that's not Spider-Man. It's an evil Skrull, and the secret invasion becomes this. Well, we don't know if who we're looking at is really who they are. So this is a Disney Plus. That's the next big Marvel series coming out. I bring it up because Samuel Jackson revealed that Don Cheadle will appear in Secret Invasion. He's, of course, War Machine from Iron Man fame. But
I love Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson does a great job in the Marvel movies as well. I think that it's not really big news just because with Secret Invasion, it's such a huge event in the comics. You really expect everybody to be in it. So to tell me, oh, War Machine is going to be in it, in my head as a Marvel fan, well, it better not stop there. There better be a lot more to it than that. But anyway, Samuel Jackson, another, again, revealing something that he shouldn't. Trent, Netflix announced this past Wednesday that they're testing out a new fee structure that would allow subscribers to add 2 additional users outside of their households for an additional fee, for an additional charge of $2.99 a month. Now, I'm sure you know about this. One of the big things Netflix has had a problem with over the years is password sharing, right?
Yes.
I go to my parents, hey, oh, you guys want to watch Netflix? Use my password. My sister, anybody, you're giving out your password. And Netflix doesn't like that. I think they should, cool down a little bit. Who cares if I have a subscription to your service? Why can't I do anything I want with it? They feel they're losing millions of dollars. They probably are, but at what point is enough money enough? I always thought one of the cool things about having a Netflix subscription or any of these streaming services was that I could password share, but now it's being looked at as a bad thing, and they're trying to cut down on that.
Well, the cool thing is, I like the fact that no matter what, for example, I gave somebody my SiriusXM password the other day because they wanted to listen to a podcast and they couldn't listen to it without a subscription. They wanted to listen to it on the SXM app. So I was not hesitant at all to give them a password and everything. And it's kind of like, I give people passwords to newspaper subscriptions that I subscribe to. They may want to read an article that they wouldn't get a chance to read otherwise. And, yes, I can see Netflix's argument that, they're losing millions of dollars, but it could also be appetizing for fans. Fans could look in there and subscribers, could look in and I should say prospective subscribers can look at, a friend of theirs has an account, can really go peruse it and look at it. And they may decide for themselves, hey, man, I may want some of that. It's kind of like I look at it as, sampling food. If you sample a food that somebody has, and they may be like, oh, this is good, so I'll buy some of my own so I can have it for the future, so I can have it for my enjoyment. I look at it as that way too, where, it's kind of like a sample, kind of like a trial, if you will, of someone using somebody else's password. And then they might decide, hey, look, let me create an account. Let me purchase my own Netflix account. Let me purchase my own subscription to X newspaper or whatever the case may be. So I see it as a benefactor as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. But I think maybe they look at it like, well, those people will take that sample and make it a lifetime sample.
I know. I understand. Like I said, I see the business side of it. I really do.
So that's going on there. And a lot of people will miss it. These streaming services are starting to get very expensive. And when you eliminate advantages like that of being able to password share, then you're getting into the realm of, well, is having all these streaming services actually worse than having a cable service? Which you start to wonder about. Just to change the subject here a little bit, Trent. I just talked about Lieutenant Stamets, Anthony Rapp coming on the show. Our first, we have Super Radio Brother highlights, Super Radio Brother movie reviews. We have Super Radio Brother celebrity interviews. We're working on a celebrity interview for you as well. You're a big music guy. Don McLean, right?
Oh yeah, the guy that's saying, bye bye Miss American Pie. Trust me, I'm not going to sing it. I'll let Don McLean sing it.
Yeah, I want you to sing it. It's more interesting.
Yeah, it depends. Interesting can be that. It sounds like you're using that word in a different connotation.
Bye, Miss American Pie. You see how good my voice is?
Yeah, you can stop.
You're welcome.
But anyway, yeah, Don McLean. Looking forward to interviewing him as well. That'll be my one of my first Super Radio highlights. Looking forward to kind of talking about the historical significance of American Pie and all the stuff that he's got going on. This year, I'm sorry, it's been a little while back now since 50 years, the day the music, unfortunately, they say the day the music died, and all three of those guys were in the helicopter. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. Three of the most talented guys in rock and roll history, especially in the 50s. With Buddy Holly, all the music that he released, and the Big Bopper released a lot of great things. Of course, Richie Valens. One of my favorite songs by him was La Bamba.
Donna.
Oh yeah,
Donna.
I didn't think you liked any of that music.
Oh, I'm a music guy too, Trent. I maybe don't go as deep into the 50s and 60s as you do, but I'm a pretty big music guy.
Oh yeah, Donna's a great song. I love that song. Great music, great song.
Mm-hmm. And you are probably referring to La Bamba.
Of course, I love that song.
Yeah. So La Bamba, which was a great movie as well.
Yep.
So, and I bring up the music thing and your potential interview with Don McLean, which will be featured on Super Radio Brother highlights on YouTube and all social media platforms. I bring it up because this is an interesting story here, Trent. What do you make of this? I think, are you after the age of CDs? Like, as you became a big music guy, was everything already streaming?
It's funny you mentioned that because I was born in 1998. So like my early years, I'm still in my early years technically, but whenever I talk about, my young childhood, like that's a funny story. I got a funny story about CDs. Whenever I was about, I'd say maybe 4 or 5. My uncle, Andy, who is still alive to this day, still alive and well, actually used to make CDs with my requested songs on them. So he actually had an account. He used Rhapsody. Do you remember Rhapsody?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are using Spotify now. A lot of people use YouTube, but Rhapsody was a big thing whenever I was about 5 or 6 years old. And Andy, my uncle, would make these CDs. Like he had recording software on his computer. He would record the songs off of Rhapsody, then burn them onto a CD. So, and I say that to say I had like an actual case, like an actual kind of little briefcase, if you will, filled, and like every pocket was filled with some sort of CD, whether it was a band performance from my granddad's band before I joined, or a CD that my uncle made, or it could have been books that I listened to on CDs. So needless to say, yes, I had a huge part of CDs, but and I still have some, but I got to be honest with you, with things streaming now, and with you being able to download music, like I have an iPhone and I have a huge music library with my Apple Music that I use and everything. CDs, they're coming more and more obsolete as time goes on.
I felt like CDs have been completely obsolete because, you also have Amazon Music. I have Alexa, and anything I tell that thing, she'll play anything, and it really...
You just turned on right now, probably.
It just did. And I just... back in the day, there was something to actually owning a physical thing, and it was great to go pick up that new album, pick up that new CD, and then you have all that album art and the lyrics written out. There was something really cool about it. Well, I bring it up because CD sales rise for the first time in almost 20 years.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible. And it's thought that maybe Gen Zers could partially be driving the sales of physical media, as they're reportedly doing things like ditching their AirPods in favor of vintage weird headphones. Last year was also a tough year for vinyl production due to supply chain issues. So it could be that some people got frustrated by month-long delays trying to get that vinyl and said, wait a second, CDs are also a notable kind of ancient technology, if you will, and physical media as a whole, it appears, has experienced its first increase in sales since 1996. So
1996, 2 years
talking
before I
about
was born.
DVDs, Blu-rays, CDs. People are again getting physical copies of things. Even with video games, Trent, I had gotten into just downloading the game because what the heck, if I want to have an impulse buy at 11 o'clock at night, I could just go to the PlayStation store and buy a game rather than go to GameStop or something. I don't have to wait till tomorrow. And the great thing, as lazy as I am, the great thing is I don't have to. I could just turn the system on, turn the PlayStation on, and I don't have to get up, open a case, take the game out, put the game in the system, go back, sit down. I just turn the system on and hit play. So I had gotten really into just downloading the games recently, but you start to realize, hey, sometimes there's games you want to lend out to friends. My dad likes to play games sometimes. Maybe I could lend this game to him. So I'm trying to buy. It's true. I didn't realize it, but even me, lately I've been trying to buy more physical copies of games rather than just download them just to have them if I want to pass them along to someone else.
Do you remember when, of course, I know a lot of people rent movies through, like, what do they call it, Redbox or something like that. Do you remember when you used to have to actually go and buy the DVD, rent the DVD?
Yeah. Trent,
but now you can just... You can buy a movie. You can buy a movie online. You can legit buy. Well, and you forget renting it. You can buy the whole thing online, and it can be ready for you. In a few taps. On your iPhone.
I don't know if you know this, Trent, but there was a day. Netflix is this huge streaming service, but back in the day, you actually had to order the DVD from Netflix. You'd get the movie in the mail. There was no streaming service, turn on the TV and watch Netflix. No.
You used to have to wait like 4 or 5 days to get it.
Yeah, you go on the website, you pick what you want to watch, and they'll send it to you in the mail. That's what Netflix used to be. So amazing.
I know.
Everything's changed so much. But there you go. Physical media, it appears. We'll see how long it lasts. But it's making a comeback. Let's get to some video game news right now. Maybe. There might be some technical glitches once in a while. Trent, do you mind?
Oh, I don't mind.
Oh, thank goodness. I was getting worried.
Video game news. Video game. Yeah.
I don't know who that idiot is, but video game news. Trent, we talked about this a little. I know you got something to say about it. I'm going to talk more about this in the Couch Report, but just for the purposes of video game news, Elden Ring, which is the biggest game out there right now, actually sells 12 million copies in less than 3 weeks. 12 million copies. That's pretty incredible in the video game world. Everybody's playing this game right now, Trent.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I don't have too much experience playing video games, but I know a lot of people who have. And my professor, I'm a college student right now. I'm getting ready to graduate, by the way, in May of this year. So very pleased about that with my associate's degree from South Florida State College in Avon Park. But I digress. My literature professor, his name is Jason Fitzgerald. He bought the game Elden Ring, I think about a week or so ago. And, that's a game where the object of the game, it's very hard for people not to die in this game. A lot of people are dying, metaphorically within the game, but
they're not actually dying. You mean? I started to get worried for my safety.
Yeah, that's why I said metaphorically. That's why I specified. You call it specification.
Yeah,
that's what I was doing.
Thank you. I was not going to play now, but now I feel better.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
But anyway, but he said there was a time right whenever he first started playing that he really didn't die at all, which is very unconventional. I mean, he did die maybe a couple times, but he really wasn't struggling as much as others were. But right before we left for spring break, he said he kind of ran into some hurdles and was dying quite frequently. But we'll see how that goes. I heard it's a very tough game. It's very.
I'll get into it a little bit more on my Couch Report. He might be a Souls game veteran because this is a game based on the Souls game. I never played a Souls game before this, but this is a much bigger version. They put out all the stops to make this game, so it's a bit more advanced than those games were. But it's kind of along the lines of the Souls games, which are supposed to be very hard. And I'm dying a lot, but I'm loving it. I'll talk about it in the Couch Report. So Elden Ring sells 12 million copies in less than 3 weeks. Sony PlayStation State of Play focuses solely on Avalanche Software. Their new game, the Harry Potter prequel, Hogwarts Legacy. You ever watch any of the Harry Potter movies or read any of the books, Trent?
Oh yeah, I read in third grade. I read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You remember that?
Yeah, that's the first. I never read the book, but I saw the movie.
Yeah, I read the book, and that was very interesting. Let's just say you don't want to read that right before you go to sleep. I did that one time, and yeah, it didn't work out well.
Especially when you're in the third grade, right?
Of course.
But the game is actually going to be an MMO, which means it's going to be countless people online playing together. You get to create your own wizard. I kind of dig the concept here. It's actually taking place in the late 1800s, meaning players are free to embark on their own journey, free of the shackles of the Harry Potter books and movies. So that's pretty cool. There's a 14-minute video out right now that kind of shows what they're looking for, what they're trying to do. And I think it's amazing to have a Harry Potter type of game in an MMO world where you're playing with a bunch of other people. You can go on adventures with them or just do your own thing and create your own character. And that's going to be the funnest part, is creating your own character. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's supposed to come out later this year, and now there's finally something you can check out. It is a 14-minute video that's available right now thanks to PlayStation State of Play, and the game is called Hogwarts Legacy. It's a prequel to Harry Potter because, as you know, Harry Potter is supposed to take place in modern times, but this is actually taking place in the late 1800s. More video game news. Nintendo Switch online. They've got 3 new Sega Genesis titles: Alien Soldier, Super Fantasy Zone, and Light Crusader. All those games are now available. I have no idea what they are. And finally, this was really interesting to me because I was a big fan of the 2015 game Until Dawn, which I always thought that, and I always say this, Trent, I feel that interactive entertainment is the future of entertainment. And
oh yeah,
Until Dawn was a little ahead of its time because it wasn't so much a video game as it was a movie that you controlled the characters in. It was mostly cinematic, and basically it's like an old horror slasher flick. You know, you got 10 or so characters, and the decisions you make lead to who lives and who dies, or even if anyone survives, right? And I really loved Until Dawn. There were countless ways the story could go, how it could end. It all depended on the decisions that you made. Now the same video game creator is announcing The Quarry, and they say that it's the spiritual successor to Until Dawn. And it's pretty exciting to me because Until Dawn was really great, and I can't wait to try it. In the Quarry, 9 teenage camp counselors are left overnight at Hackett Quarry, free from kids, supervision, and rules. And as you might expect, the counselors' party plans don't go well as dangerous locals and, per the game's press release, something far more sinister hunts them throughout the night. You'll have control of all 9 of those counselors. Like Until Dawn, your choices are paramount. Everyone can live or die by the end of the game, and the story will adapt on the fly, following in the footsteps of Until Dawn. So, and also pretty interesting in this game, co-op, which wasn't an option in Until Dawn, co-op is an option, so you'll be able to play it with someone else as well. That's going to be released on June 10th. So that's the type of game, Trent, where I always felt that was the future of entertainment, these interactive stories, interactive storytelling, but it never quite caught on the way that there were a couple of games that came out. There was Heavy Rain, which I loved as well, which was more cinematic storytelling based on your decisions. There was Beyond Two Souls, and there was there was Until Dawn. And I always thought, man, this is the future of video games. There are going to be a ton of these games coming out, and it never quite caught on the way I expected it to. But it's good to see that the studio is putting out another game like this, and I'll definitely support it and check it out, because again, it's kind of more like watching a movie that you're in, you know, and I think that's a fantastic experience that we don't get enough of these days.
Oh yeah, without question. I mean, these days people want to, instead of just sitting. A lot of people, and maybe you've noticed this too, but a lot of people have issues just sitting and doing nothing. Like they have to be multitasking when they're watching something, or they have to be interacting with the content that they're watching. If not,
right.
Their attention starts to lack, and their attention to detail, it kind of starts to fade, and their interest kind of starts to kind of dissipate, if you will. So I mean, I think the interactive games are where it's at, and there's I'm personally for them. I mean, I would like them. It kind of makes you think. It keeps your brain active, which is the purpose of it.
All right, let's talk a little sports. How about that? Is that a good idea, Trent? You want to talk some sports?
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds like sports to me. Yeah, I'm excited. Maybe a little bit of dancing is necessary. I'm dancing.
Are you a good dancer, Rich?
I am. I'm not a good dancer, Trent. I'm a great dancer. I excel at body movements.
Okay, maybe I asked for something I probably didn't need to know.
Or bowel movements, I don't know. But yeah, it's time for Super Radio, the very first edition of Super Radio Brothers Sports. So I'll let you take center stage here, take the conversation wherever you want. Trent, let's talk a little sports.
Well, some guy that we all know very well. I mean, you may have heard of him. I think his name is Tom Brady or something like that.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
let's not talk about sports. Let's move on.
Well, hey, I would be burying the lead, as they say in the business, if I did not mention that on Sunday afternoon, just 10 minutes removed from the Selection Sunday show in men's college basketball. By the way, the NCAA tournament is going on right now. It's going on right now through Sundays, the first and second round. Then you move on to the Sweet 16. I know you say you're really not into the college basketball kind of thing.
I didn't even know it started, Trent. Some sports fan I am, right?
Yeah, I know. All you're into is the NBA and the Yankees. That's pretty much
about it. I love the NFL too. Come on.
What's that?
I do love the NFL, and I'm into college football. I don't know. The NCAA tournament doesn't. I'll get into a Sweet 16. I'll start watching.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad to hear. Anyway, but Tom Brady, had announced back a few weeks ago that he was done playing after the NFL season. He didn't want to be a distraction to the playoff team, so he decided to wait till after the season to announce that he was going to retire. He mentioned on his Instagram that he wanted to spend more time with his family and spend more time with his wife Giselle and his children, and just kind of reflect on his 20-plus year career in the NFL. Well, guess what, Rich? His retirement lasted all of 40 days. 4-0.
What a drama queen.
Not even 2 months, not even a quarter of a year. Okay. Apparently Sunday night after and this made a lot of college basketball fans mad. A lot of people are moaning and groaning about the timing of the announcement. At least he waited till after the college basketball show was over.
I think it's true though, Trent. Couldn't he have picked a better day? It's Selection Sunday. These kids, it's their chance to sign. And here Tom Brady comes stomping all over their media coverage. It was a bit insensitive, no?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but then again, and this is the prime time. This past week was prime time for NFL free agency. People were starting to be able to negotiate with teams. A lot of deals were done. The new league year rather started on Wednesday at 4:00. And so, I mean, look, he wanted to get it in at some point. He wanted to do it during free agency, but I guess this was kind of a tough time in general, because if he would have done it today, for example, on the Thursday, the center of the attention would have been on Tom Brady, and it still is, especially around the NFL, and a lot of sports talk shows are speaking about it. But I don't know, if you were Tom Brady, when would you have made the announcement?
I would have stayed retired if I was Tom Brady. I got millions of dollars. I got a beautiful wife. I have a family. I've won, 7 Super Bowls. What's the point? Get over yourself already. Move on. Enough is enough. I'm tired with the Tom Brady. What are you doing, dude? And the one thing that worries me about and it hasn't happened with Tom Brady, but you never know. One thing that worries me about situations like this, and it's not really a comeback because he just played last year, although it feels like a comeback because he retired. Then a couple weeks later, he says, I'm coming back to play football. But these things usually don't end well, and he's going to be 45 years old, the oldest guy ever to start an NFL game at quarterback, and you're just waiting for that injury to happen. Because he's going out. I don't care how great a shape he's in, how prepared he is to do this. Eventually, this game gets you. And it hasn't gotten him yet, and maybe it never will. But maybe he's tipping his toes into the water one too many times. He's going to the well one too many times. Sometimes you want to leave when the leaving's good. I understand they lost the playoff game to the Rams, but the Rams went on to win the Super Bowl. The team wasn't at 100%. He feels like he has unfinished business. The guy has nothing left to prove. The last thing I think you want to see to end a guy like that, his career, is to be carried off the field on a stretcher. And let's face it, if the Buccaneers can't protect him next year, they can't get the right guys in there because they still got a lot of moves they got to make here. To me, it's not a smart move. I don't understand. The guy has more money than he needs. I know you love to play the game, but it's a dangerous game, and eventually something happens. So I don't want that to happen. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm a Jet fan, so obviously he tormented my team for the better part of 2 decades. But I respect him and the greatness that he accomplished on the field. Probably the greatest player we'll ever see in our lifetime. However, I just think it's too much already. You're retired. Stay retired. Go enjoy your life. This whole thing of coming back for another year after you already did what you wanted to do. You went to another team. You won a Super Bowl. I think he should have retired then. The second year was completely unnecessary for him. But at the same time, you can't kill a guy for loving to play the game. I just hope that the injury that a lot of people suspect or are waiting for doesn't happen. And I think, for someone at his age, that's a possibility. I hope that doesn't happen. Do you think
Giselle, his wife, inspired him to go play? Do you think he was real? He made the announcement to retire, but it sounded like, he could have been miserable sitting at home. He could have been, and Giselle may have inspired him and said, hey, look, if you decide, you want to change your mind, go out there and play. I don't want you sitting at home being miserable. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
There's a good chance that had something to do with it, but I also think that it just comes down to the fact that he loves to play the game. It can't be anything else, and when he looked at it, you're getting closer and closer. You're getting further away from the decision he made, and you're starting to see NFL free agency. The draft is coming up, and you get that itch. You start to realize, well, this is it. I retired. I'm not playing anymore. And he looks at himself and he says, well, I'm still physically able, and my family, they're going to be there for the rest of my life. And there's plenty of time to enjoy that aspect of life. But as far as playing NFL football, that's right now, and that's never going to come around again. So I just think it's a guy that loves to play and would rather be playing football than staying home or, I don't want to say doing nothing, because he's a guy that can easily, I think, get in the broadcast booth, do different media things, whatever it is. But I think he just loves the game and doesn't want to stop. And the reality of his decision really started to hit him. And yeah, probably his wife said, well, if you still want to play.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but then again, you have to look at it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers did not let Kyle Trask, the guy that they drafted from Florida last year, they really didn't let him play at all last year. I mean, yes, he took a few snaps in the preseason, but Rich, I'm going to be honest with you, man. They had no idea. The Buccaneers, I thought at this time this year, after Tom Brady announced his retirement, I figured we'd be talking all offseason. There were going to be a lot of question marks. There was going to be a lot of uncertainty with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, other guys, for example, Ali Marpet, one of our big offensive linemen, retired. Then you had Ryan Jensen was about to sign with another team. And then when he found out Brady was coming back, he decided to stick with Tampa. You talk about Russell Gage. The Buccaneers acquired Russell Gage from the Atlanta Falcons. That will work out when the Bucs try to run a lot of jet sweeps. He's been a fantastic player for the Atlanta Falcons the past 2 seasons. Definitely fantasy football worthy if you had him on your team. And look, the impact of Tom Brady coming back to Tampa doesn't just impact Tampa Bay. It affects the trajectory of NFL free agency as a whole, Rich. You understand that?
Oh, yeah. It changes everything.
People have always, players have always probably had dreams to play with Tom Brady. And those that, who have always dreamt of playing with Tom Brady, that dream, they realize that dream could, if all goes well and if the stars align, become a reality. And you know what? For some, it definitely will. And the Bucs aren't done signing people, I don't believe. They're working on the defensive side of the ball right now. They did re-sign Carlton Davis. Chris Godwin re-signed a contract. They took the franchise tag off of him and signed him to a long-term deal. So one of his top receivers, Rob Gronkowski, has not announced officially. I think he's just toying with everybody because if Tom Brady plays another year, Rob Gronkowski is going to be right with him. I don't think Tom Brady and Gronkowski want to be on 2 different teams. That's just not meant to be between those 2 guys.
Oh, that'll never happen. I think he'll come back. It's pretty interesting. The Buccaneers must have knew something because they never really gave up on the idea that Brady might change his mind. And a lot of people thought they were ridiculous. And it turned out that that was the right thinking because he just couldn't do it. He couldn't stay retired. So amazing. But I'm sure every Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan is extremely excited because, that puts you in the conversation.
I'm pumped up, dude. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. But, it's... So and the Buccaneers have a primetime schedule this year. I mean, they got Kansas City coming to town. They got Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals coming to town. They've got a few other teams. They got some West Coast teams coming. I think the Rams come back to Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken, this year. So we'll see. I know they play the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger. It does not sound like Ben Roethlisberger will ever change his mind to retire. The guy just looked old on the field, and Brady looked old at some points during the game. I remember that New Orleans Saints game when the Buccaneers played on Sunday Night Football back in December, where they were shut out for the first time since Tom Brady has been in Tampa Bay. So we got that. That's the biggest news. Arguably, I'm not even going to make an argument. That is the biggest sporting news of this year. Of this week, I should say. And of this year, I guess. This year.
Too. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty big. Of course, it's pretty big.
Oh, it's big. Anyway, moving on to men's college basketball. We've got the Sweet 16. We got the NCAA tournament happening. Both Florida and Florida State did not end up making the tournament, unfortunately. Florida made the NIT. They won a great game over Iona. I know you're a big Gator fan, Rich. I don't know if you're a big Gator basketball fan, but college football, you always rooted for the Gators last year, especially when they played Georgia, and especially when they played Florida State. We're always ragging me about.
I'm a big Gator fan all the way around.
Okay,
all
good.
All the way around. I mean, Mama said Gators are always angry because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
Well, I'm an FSU guy and always will be. We're going through some tough times right now, but we'll be back. Seeing a lot of good things happening on the recruiting side of things. So, but anyway, so we got Florida ended up beating Iona last night, Wednesday night, in the NIT, the first round of the NIT tournament. And they'll play again. They'll travel to Cincinnati to play Xavier on Saturday, but otherwise the NCAA tournament, the big dance, you guys got, you got your usuals. You got Duke and John Calipari. You got Duke and Mike Krzyzewski. I'm sorry, I had Kentucky on my mind.
His last tournament.
Yep, Mike Krzyzewski. This is his last go round. So whatever happens to Duke this year, he's been there over 4 decades.
been a long time and a lot of success. And wouldn't that be I don't think anybody expects them to actually win, but that would definitely be the fairy tale ending for Coach K, right?
Yeah, and the second day of the tournament is tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow being a Friday or whenever you're listening to this, we're going to try to be as relevant as possible because there are multiple games going on each day in the NCAA tournament. So we got the band of 68 all kind of started today, and with it being Thursday, and the biggest upset so far, as we are recording this, were the Iowa Hawkeyes losing by over 11 points to a school, Colorado State. They ended up losing to them, and it was a wild game. So congratulations again to everybody who made the tournament. This is a great time of year for a basketball fan. And I have to end on a good note because Major League Baseball is back. We got spring training games starting. The Tampa Bay Rays play the Boston Red Sox, being at Friday afternoon at 1:05.
I love you, Trent. You're one of the only guys I've ever met that gets excited for some spring training baseball.
Why wouldn't I? We had no idea. We didn't think we were going to have baseball at all this year.
That's
the way
true.
The players and the owners were acting. We had no idea.
Yeah, that's true. We were like, well, are we going to get any baseball at all? But come on, even when there's not a lockout, you're still excited for spring training.
Oh yeah, that's my style. I miss it. Hey, look, I will tell you, I was trying to fill the no baseball void back in February. I watched Florida State's opening weekend of college baseball. Okay,
goodness.
I usually don't do that.
You got a problem, dude.
I thought, well, there may not be any baseball, and I'll get into this in my couch report as well. But I watch a lot of high school baseball as well because I work for a high school team doing their PA announcing. Again, this is a tease for the couch report that we'll talk about. But anyway, the Tampa Bay Rays do play the Boston Red Sox at JetBlue Park down in Fort Myers at 1:05, and we got what they're doing is, Rich, they're playing like over 16, 17 spring training games within a 3-week span. They're going to be crazy busy. Not very many days off. Actually, I think it's in the 20s of games that they're going to play because they open up April 8th against the Baltimore Orioles. At least the Rays do at 3:10 at Tropicana Field for their home opener. So look, I'm happy baseball's back. We've talked about it on our radio program, Outta Sights Sports. The fact that Major League Baseball and the Players Union somehow pulled it out of their hats to come to a deal and for them to kind of get some time to discuss that international draft idea was great for the sport, because I think no matter what, the sport is going to hell in a handbasket, I hate to say, because a lot of people aren't very interested in baseball right now and really haven't been for the last handful of seasons. They think the game's too slow. So the league is doing everything in their power to try to speed it up, while as the baseball purists like myself are not a fan of these types of ideas. I'm not a big fan of them banning the shift. And the reason I'm not a big fan of banning the shift is that takes away some of the defensive creativity that teams can use. I've always been a proponent of the shift, and it looks like that's going to come to an end in the near future. So in terms of sports, those are the three major storylines that are happening. Of course, there's the NBA season is getting ready to kind of wind down, getting close to the play-in tournament time and the playoffs, and of course the NBA finals will be here before you know it, and all that. So and
you said it, Trent. If you want more sports from Trent and I, you can check out our sports show, our radio show, Outta Sights Sports. It's available, of course, on the radio. You can listen worldwide at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday.
A radio show on the radio?
Yeah,
what a
radio
concept.
show on the radio. But you can listen online as well, anywhere in the world at flaglerbroadcasting.com or on the Flagler radio app if you want to listen there. And, the podcast version is also available on SoundCloud and also on the Flagler radio app. So you can
while we're on this topic, though, Rich, I need to ask you, your take on the shift.
I need to
know what you think.
Well, the shift, I agree with you in the sense that it's not like the shift is a modern invention. It's a strategy that's existed in baseball for over 100 years. But it's 70 years ago, the players were brought up a different way. The game was taught at the lower levels. One of the main aspects was bat control. Okay, so players could handle a bat better 70 years ago, and if you shift everybody to the right, they're just going to hit the ball to the left field. Nowadays, from the lowest levels, they're teaching launch angle. So players anymore, they're not trying to have bat control to where they could put the ball wherever they want. They just want to hit the ball in the air and hit a home run. So what you get is it's a lot easier using metrics for these managers to figure out where a player is going to hit the ball, because that's the only place they ever hit it, because everybody's trying to hit a home run. So if this player hits the ball to right field all the time, well, I'm going to shift everybody to that side of the field. And, of course, that has a big impact on the game. A lot of people think it's boring. My opinion is, well, you need to change the way the game is fundamentally taught at the lower levels. You want the game to be exciting. You got to get back to contact baseball. You got to get back to putting the ball in play rather than the game being about strikeouts and home runs. How about put the bat on the ball and bat control and hit the ball to left field, hit the ball to right. The old adage is hit it where they ain't. And now the adage is, well, just hit it in the air. Maybe it'll leave the ballpark. And I think that's what's led to the shift being so prominent in defensive strategy in baseball, and why it wasn't used as much, say, 50 years ago, because it just players had back control back then. If they see everybody lined up on the right side of the field, they're just going to hit it to the left side. So I think there's a problem with the way the game is taught at the lowest levels, and I think that has to change. I don't think that you have to eliminate the shift. It's been with the game for its entire existence for over 100 years. I think it would be a shame if they go that route. But unfortunately, I think that they believe that the home run is the most exciting aspect of baseball, where I think it might be for a fair weather fan, but for people who really love the game, base running's exciting. Going from first to third, a hit and run, going
from
to
first to third on a routine single is fun. I love that. That pumps me up, and especially trying to stretch like what looks to be a single into a double, where the ball kind of just sunk in front of somebody, and next thing you know, the batter who hit the ball realizes that the defender in the outfield doesn't have that great of an arm, so he tries to test his arm and say, okay, I'm going to go to first. I'm going to go from first to second on you and see what happens. And the next thing you know, the batter makes it, and that, to me, that's just as exciting as a home run.
Yeah, it might be more exciting depending on the situation. So, yeah, I think that's an issue that they face right now. That is a bandage. That's a Band-Aid. I don't think that is an ultimate fix to the problems that they're facing, but they think it might be something that can help. I don't know. Is it going to ruin the game at all for me that they eliminate shifts? Not really. There will be more hits, and it'll be tougher to defend certain players, but it is maddening to know. And even basketball, Trent, has illegal defense, right? A guy's going to take it to the basket, so you just can't sit someone under the basket to block the shot, so it's kind of the same idea. In baseball, you have an illegal defense, just like basketball does. So I get it. I feel that there are different ways. I think the problem baseball face isn't necessarily the shift, is that it's gone away from contact and hit and runs and stolen bases, and now the game is all strikeouts and home runs. I think that's the problem. And but I think the powers that be, they like the home runs, so they're not trying to change that at all. So I think that's the issue the game faced. I'm with you. I don't think there's any reason to eliminate the shift.
No, not at all. So, I mean, that's just several things. The other thing that they were arguing about was the competitive tax, and I really didn't care anything about that.
I think most fans don't care about stuff like that.
No, not at all. But hey, we'll see what happens. It's a great time for a sports fan, and looking forward to talking about it. You can hear our show Saturday morning. You really want to hear an in-depth sports conversation? Well, hence the name Outta Sights Sports, because that's what we'll be talking about the whole time is sports, and we'll be able to really delve deep into these issues, but love being able to talk about it as well on this platform here on the Super Radio Brothers.
Oh, yeah, and just a teaser, there will be a Yankee rant coming to Outta Sights Sports. Just tune in, okay?
Ooh. Now I'm all ears.
It's time to sit down and unwind and listen to the Couch Report.
Yeah, the Couch Report, Trent. You know what this is all about. We're going to see what's going on, what you've been up to. Why don't you get us started? What's going on your couch, Trent?
Well, the problem is I'm not on my couch at the current moment. I'm sitting in my studio.
Well, you don't have to do the Couch Report from your couch, Trent, although that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be if I was able to. You got other people in the house right now, so it would be kind of strange.
It would be weird.
Yeah, it would be.
But anyway, Trent all spread out on the couch, giving his report. Your family might think that's weird, right?
I mean, a lot of things I do, they think they're weird. So I get it. But anyway, on my couch report, I spend a lot of time, for those that don't know, I have many irons in the fire. Like I said, I'm an assistant news director, a morning sports anchor for WNZF. I also do some production for the station. So I hold many radio jobs within the industry. I also am a college student getting ready to graduate with my associate's degree from South Florida State College here in the Avon Park, Florida area, and really enjoying that. I've been taking college classes and working basically full time since 2018. So this has been a long time coming. Worked hard for this. The light is at the end of the tunnel, and going to try to continue to pursue my education as long as I can in life, because you can never stop learning. That's my thing. And for those that also don't know, I talked about how I watch a lot of high school baseball. I'm also the public address announcer for the Avon Park Red Devil baseball team. I got that job this past year. The head coach, Kyle Jackson, ended up giving it to me. Real nice guy. And he put his faith in me to announce and pronounce all the names correctly that come up to the plate. Now, I've mispronounced a few names occasionally, but that's going to happen whenever you get a new gig. But otherwise,
they get really
seem
mad at
to...
you. That's not my name, Trent. How dare you?
I know they're screaming. It's so and so. I'm like, and I always tell them when they scream through the window. I always tell them, well, why don't you come up here and do it? If you think you can do it better, why don't you?
Oh, snap.
yeah. I come right after him. No, I don't. I kid, of course. I'm very appreciative. My grandfather TJ is my spotter most of the time, so he helps me kind of spot everything and get everything ready to go. So he'll yell down on the field and say, hey, how do you say this name? And the coach will say it's pronounced in this certain way, or it's pronounced in that way. So it's very helpful whenever they work with us. Hey, if they cooperate with me, I will cooperate with them and say their name properly, and everybody will just be happy and go on their merry way after the game concludes.
Trent, what if they don't cooperate? Would you, say, okay, here is number 22, Captain A-hole? Like, would you mess with them? He's not
only
cooperating.
If you were up there.
Well, actually, I would prefer if you called me Captain A-hole when I.
It may give you some motivation to hit the ball or something.
Yeah, that would pump me up. It's like, okay, let's do this, Captain A-hole. Let's make it happen.
Oh man, I tell you, but that's I spent a lot of time. I was a public address announcer for a tournament called the Early Bird Tournament in late February, and I got a few games. Got a couple games next week as well. So very happy to be doing the baseball game. And I'm also, I mentioned I'm a big music enthusiast. Well, I'm a member of a band, and the member of the band. I'll tell this quick story here. I'm a member of the California Toe Jam Band.
Oh,
now that's a strange name. I will admit, I did not come up with the name. The name came about way before I was born. It came out in 1983. A friend of mine was born in 1983, by the way. So that
I don't know anybody that was born that long ago. Old people.
I know. That's very old. But anyway, the 1983, the band leader now, Harry Havery, and the keyboard player, Dr. Rodney Hollinger. Dr. Rodney Hollinger was Harry Havery's guidance counselor on campus.
Is he really a doctor, or does he only play a doctor on the radio?
No, he's actually a doctor
Oh.
of education. So he's a real smart guy. So don't mess with him. If you mess with him, he will put you in your place.
Oh.
And I know you've been put in your place before, but you would not want to be put in your place with this guy.
Sometimes I need to be put in my place. It's true.
I think everybody does. If you don't, then come talk to me. I want to live a perfect life just like you are.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Dr. Rodney Hollinger was the guidance counselor. He was Harry's guidance counselor, and the principal of the school that they were both located at approached him and said, "Hey guys, we need a band for homecoming. We know that you're musicians, so we need a band for homecoming. You're only going to need to play 3 songs, and and then be on your merry way. That's all you'll be playing." And they're like, "Okay." So they found out that the theme was going to be beach related. So they said, okay, something from California. They knew a lot of Beach Boys songs. They knew a lot of, West Coast kind of music. So, so they said, okay, so something with California. And the band director walked in. Every time that he was wearing flip-flops, it looked like he had toe jam between his toes. So they said, California toe jam, and they were like, yep, that's it. And they said, hey, we're only going to be together for throughout homecoming, and we're going to split up after the homecoming performance. Well, come to find out, they've been together for over 38 years, soon to be 39, and I've been playing with them full time since 2017. Been playing drums for a very long time, and we have a couple of gigs coming up. We got a busy rest of the month. We're playing at an RV resort, a retirement community down here in Sebring. Got a midweek show next week on a Wednesday, believe it or not. It's very rare to have a Wednesday morning and into afternoon show. We're going to be playing from 11:30 to 2:30 this coming Wednesday, and then Saturday of next weekend we're going to be playing at a local park down here in the Sebring area called Highlands Hammocks. So whenever I get a chance to watch TV, I'm blessed. I usually do a lot of my TV watching on the weekends and my movie watching on the weekends, but my weeks are pretty much busy, but wouldn't have it any other way. People say, you've grown into a couch potato. Sometimes I miss my couch because I'm not able to sit on it.
And your couch misses you, Trent. It misses
I'm sure it
you.
does. Yeah. That's it.
Don't make your couch cry. Go sit on it, okay?
Okay, I'm going to go sit on it right after this show is over and continue watching.
Go sit on it right now. I'll wait for you. Go sit on it right now. It needs you.
Okay, yeah, I can hear it sniffing in the background.
Yeah. So, cool. All right. So you've been doing some PA announcing for the team down there. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it with me.
Some band playing. Very cool. Very exciting. Let's see. Not a lot going on with me. A couple different shows. Let's see. What have I been watching? We talked about Star Trek Discovery. I think this season has been great. It's season 4. The DMA threatens all of existence across the galaxy 900 years into the future. So that's been pretty fun. Again, don't miss the Anthony Rapp interview coming to Super Radio Brother Highlights real soon. You'll get it on all social media platforms. I've also been watching this show, Trent, called Raised by Wolves. I love season 1. Ridley Scott. It's a vision of Ridley Scott. At least he was a producer in season 1. Honestly, I don't know how much he has to do with the show anymore here by season 2, but it's a pretty interesting concept. After Earth is ravaged by a great religious war, an atheistic android architect sends 2 of his creations, mother and father, to start a peaceful, godless colony on the planet Kepler 22b. Their treacherous task is jeopardized by the arrival of the Mithraic, a deeply devout religious order of surviving humans. So it's basically the ultra future. The Earth is destroyed by this war between the atheists and the religious, and this artificial intelligence sends these 2 robots to a distant planet to try to raise human children without any influence of religion. And then the religious group, the Mithraic, they show up, and a whole bunch of craziness goes on. First season is great because it really focuses on Mithraic civilization. They worship Sol, which I guess, is a sun god. But the second season really focuses in on how the atheists live. So it's a fascinating show. It's again Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's the creator of Alien. It has it's a really fun, interesting show with a great look and pretty wacky. The first season was great, but you might say jumped the shark at the end of the. I don't. And should I give spoilers? I'll just say that.
No, let the people watch it.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoiler, but the show is just great. And the first season was fire, and the second season is just as good. I really dig it. That's Raised by Wolves. It's
now. Where do you watch this? What platform?
That is HBO Max.
Okay.
And it's really good. I really love it. So that's Raised by Wolves. I've been watching Servant, which is now in its. I think it's what is it? The third season now? Yeah, season 3. Which Servant is another show that's fantastic. I remember when the first season of Servant came out. This is Apple TV, and Stephen King himself. I know you know Stephen King. Stephen King said this is the best show on television. It's the most haunting show on television, and it really is. And one of the things I love about Servant is that it's about 25 minutes to a half hour each episode. So it's a really easy show to get into. Basically, the concept: Philadelphia couple in mourning after an unspeakable tragedy creates a rift in their marriage and opens the door for a mysterious force to enter their home. That mysterious force is Leanne, who apparently has the ability, maybe, to bring people back from the dead. She was in this cult. Basically, the couple from Philadelphia, the woman, Dorothy, she's a TV news anchor. The husband is a world-class chef that's on television. You know, he's pretty famous. And their child dies. Okay, I won't tell you how, but their kid dies, and Leanne comes into the house and is somehow able to bring the kid back. All right, and they've been able to get 3 seasons out of this. And when I tell you it's excellent, it is absolutely excellent. So, Servant's one of the best things on TV or streaming, I guess, is what you would say. That's on Apple TV, and I absolutely love it. It's one of the best things out there. For sure, 100%. I can't think of any, you know, when the weekend comes, that's basically the top thing I'm looking for is Servant. It's really good.
So you binge watch it?
Well, you can't because they don't put it out like that. It only comes out. I wish you could binge watch it, but you have to. It comes out every Friday, so you have to wait.
I love to binge, man. Yeah, whenever I can, I love just binge watching shows.
I can't stand that some of these stream. I love the old Netflix model where they just give you the whole series. You know, and okay, I can binge, I can enjoy this, but unfortunately, a Servant, no, you got to wait every week. Also watched Reacher recently, which was the big Amazon show. That one we could binge, and we did. If you remember, Jack Reacher is a character that was originally played by Tom Cruise about a decade ago. He had 2 movies, and it was based on a series of very successful books. And the people who loved the books really hated the Tom Cruise movies because the main character, Jack Reacher, is supposed to be this huge guy, right? He's like really big and intimidating. He towers over you. And Tom Cruise, quite frankly, just isn't a big guy. So it kind of went against what the book describes. Well, the television show, the Amazon series, really gives you this huge guy in the title role. And he just mysteriously shows up in a small town. He's investigating the murder of his brother, and it's action-packed, and it's extremely good. So I would highly recommend that as well. I thought Reacher was, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's this fantastic, amazing story, but it's great popcorn stuff, you know, a lot of great action.
Oh, yeah.
And fun to watch. So really enjoyed that. And the couple of movies that I watched, first of all, Dog. Dog is I think we brought it up earlier. I think it was number 3 on the list of movies this week.
You brought that up in your news.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big movie this past week. I gotta say, I don't know. I think when you see a movie based on, you know, the relationship between a person and a dog, it could be somewhat predictable. And I do think the ending of the movie is predictable. Look, you get that happy, you know, dude falls in love with the dog, happy ending type of thing. But the path to get there is a bit bizarre, in my opinion. I don't know. It just doesn't go exactly where you were expecting it to go, which is a good thing. I thought it was enjoyable, but it's basically about a military veteran who served tours in the Middle East, and there are canines that serve in war as well. And this particular canine, his handler died in action. And for whatever reason, when they tried to set up this dog with other handlers, it just wouldn't take. He would attack them. He was violent. The dog was pretty crazy. So this other veteran that wants to get back into the military but can't because of war injuries, he's given the task of transporting this dog through a couple of states to get it to the funeral of its handler that was killed in action. So pretty good story, but as I said, a pretty unconventional route to get to where they were going. But if you love dogs and you like feel-good movies, I definitely think it's worth checking out. But it's another one I don't think was necessarily great. Let's see, what else did I see? There's a lot of watching, Trent. You know what I mean? A lot of couch stuff. There's also the new Disney movie, which we got a chance to see, Turning Red. 13-year-old May is experiencing the awkwardness of being a teenager with a twist. When she gets too excited, she transforms into a giant red panda. And basically, at the heart of the story is a relationship between a mother and daughter and how difficult that relationship can be. And growing up as a young girl in the early 2000s, where everybody was falling in love with these boy bands and everything. So I thought it was actually one of the stronger releases from Disney this year. There were a couple that I think Encanto was the other one that I didn't like as much. Everybody loves it. I didn't fall in love with it. There's a big top 40 song from Encanto right now. We don't talk about Bruno, which is a pretty big song right now on the pop charts. That comes right out of that Disney film. I mean, it was okay, but I enjoyed Turning Red a little more. I thought it was a stronger Disney release from this year, so that was pretty cool. I know that we've agreed that we will both try to watch The Adam Project this weekend, so if you get a chance, try to watch that so we can talk about it on the next show. It's the big new Netflix movie that was released last week. A lot of big stars from Marvel movies, so I will definitely try to give that a watch this weekend. And of course, finally, Trent, The Batman. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, you can get my full review or my thesis, I don't know what you would call it, because I kind of base it on one very general idea. But the video is available on all social media platforms, Super Radio Brother Highlights. Check it out on YouTube. And my statement is basically The Batman, which is DC's first Marvel movie. I'll let you watch the video to understand what I'm saying there. Go ahead and go check it out. A lot of people would think that's a controversial statement, Trent, because Matt Reeves, he did an interview, and that's what inspired the video. He said that basically that if he was asked to do a Marvel movie, he would be completely lost. And in my opinion, he already made a Marvel movie, The Batman. It follows a lot of the things that makes Marvel movies great. So go ahead and check out that video to find out why I think that. But overall, I thought it was really good. I will give you a couple of things from the video that I talk about. I think visually, Gotham City does look incredible. I think they accomplished a lot there. They were able to make the city a living, breathing thing rather than just a city. I thought it was the best looking Gotham City in the history of Batman cinema. Is it my favorite Batman movie ever? No, it's not. But it does focus on things that you really enjoy from the comic books. Like I thought it did the best job of any of the movies in really focusing in on the relationship between Batman and Commissioner Gordon. Well, he's not Commissioner yet. It's supposed to be Batman Year 2, so Commissioner Gordon is still Lieutenant Gordon. But it shows how they really developed their relationship, Batman and Gordon, this crime-fighting relationship. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't love the villains. For more on that, watch the video as well. But look, it's Batman. It looks great. There are some cool action sequences. Some people thought it was maybe it's a little too long, Trent. They could maybe shave off a half hour, 40 minutes from the film, but it does try to be a horror movie in a way, or a torture movie like Saw, or Seven, way back in the day. Another great. It has that tone, and the Riddler is kind of turned into this. Well, he's always been the kind of guy that uses booby traps to kill people. You got to solve the riddle before whatever the booby trap is kills you. But they kind of give him a righteous reason for what he does. He's against corruption in Gotham City. Political figures, Edward Nygma. I don't even know if you ever, I'm sure you get his name in the movie, but Edward Nygma, who is the Riddler, played by Paul Dano, who's a really great actor. I hate the mask in the movie. The Riddler is not supposed to look like that. I get into that in the video, but it didn't work for me. But it hurt me in a sense that the Riddler hasn't been focused in too many Batman movies. The only other one was, I think the name of it was, I can't think of it, but late 90s. The one that stars Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. And I believe it's Val Kilmer as Batman. So, you don't get the Riddler a lot. And I was a little disappointed that I didn't love their representation of the character here just because it was unrecognizable to me. But, for what it's worth, I think Paul Dano is a really good actor. And when he did get the mask off, he gives a pretty good performance. But overall, it's Batman. There are some intriguing possibilities with this style of storytelling going into the future. So overall, I'm going to say that I liked it. If I were to give you a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest amount that I liked it, I would probably give you an 8. So I really dug it, but I'm a big Batman fan. Not my favorite Batman movie. Love Batman 89, Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton, and of course, The Dark Knight. With Heath Ledger's amazing performance as the Joker, and of course Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan directing, a little bit over a decade now, which is another one of the great movies. I don't think it approaches the greatness of those films, but it's pretty darn good, Trent.
All right. Well, we look forward to interacting with it and kind of examining it for myself.
So, what did you think of your first episode of I was going to say Outta Sights Sports. I can't believe it. What do you think of your first episode of Super Radio Brothers, Trent?
Yeah, it was good. I thought we had some great dialogue. We engaged in some very meaningful conversations, and look forward to doing it again soon. Look forward to talking more TV next time. On my me not having too much of an opportunity to watch some shows, but definitely going to check out that Adams Project. Really going to look forward to doing that, and check out some other movies. And other than that, but yeah, I had a great time. Glad we had more than 30 minutes to speak on different things. Yeah. And we'll go from there. So yeah,
what, Trent, I'm striving for less important conversations. I'm just
okay.
Yeah, but no, it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing the show again. This is the podcast, Super Radio Brothers podcast. A lot more content coming your way. Super Radio Brothers highlights. Check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, all social media platforms. We got more videos coming your way. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out big time, Trent, for the celebrity interviews coming up. We got Anthony Rapp, Lieutenant Stamets, that's coming your way. Super Radio highlights, Don McClain, and much more content coming from the Super Radio Brothers. Trent, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Oh, yeah. In the words of Bob Dylan, time is an ocean, but it ends at the shore. The Super Radio Brothers have reached the shore.